The Spectrum Scale of Spiritual Awakening Experiences, Part 1. Where are you in the spiritual awakening experiences spectrum? What are the differences in spiritual awakening experiences that make up the scale from different extremes to another? Knowing about the differences helps to determine where you are in your experiences and what is happening to us collectively at this time of transformation, as well as understanding about how other people have spiritual awakening experiences and the variety of them. In this part 1, discover the three main spiritual awakening experiences spectrum and their characteristics and variations, and importantly, how they impact the different systems of our body, mind, emotions, and spirit, and our physical systems. In part 2, you'll learn, 1, what hinders spiritual transformative experiences integration that enables the person to progress. Number 2, how to integrate spiritual transformative experiences and methods to gather and glean valuable content. And 3, and beyond that, how to progress and even accelerate the effects of spiritual transformative experiences. And 4, why a person might want to slow their spiritual transformative experiences down. In the spiritual transformative experience spectrum, there are definitive extremes that can be complete game changers in consciousness and devastating from life, or a moderate or even mild spiritual awakening experience that doesn't seem to impact our daily life, decisions, and awareness of who we are and how we are changing. I'll start with the most extreme spiritual awakening experience and how they impact our lives. So the extreme spiritual awakening experiences, what are they, and the areas they affect us in our physical body, mind, emotions, and spirit. One of the most extreme spiritual awakening experiences we're most familiar with now, thanks to the International Association for Near-Death Studies, also known as IANDS, is the near-death experience, also called an NDE. Especially in the past, before IANDS and before people spoke about their NDEs, people were left to their own devices to recover, attempting to integrate an experience that was so profound, it impacted their knowing of what is possible, who they are, determining a significant change on all their relationships, including those with family, friends, their employment and career, and with themselves, and their sense of their past relationships and future relationships, a greater experience of the world, the earth, dimensions of existence, and in the multiverse. So throughout this article, the extreme spiritual awakening experiences are also sometimes referred to as acute. So often another characteristic of a spiritual awakening experience, of a near-death experiences, are expansion of their compassion and love capacity, and sometimes fear. Often their experiences were so profound they took a year or even decades or even a lifetime to understand what happened, and more years to speak of their experiences or even parts of their experience. These experiences impacted their sense of self, their capabilities, either heightening their intuition and self-trust or revealing their intuition as a reliable navigation method connected to their divine purpose, connecting often with their unique form of guidance and a deep understanding of our time on earth, and even healing abilities. Often there are other knowings involved with quantum understandings and physics beyond what is accessible at this time. The second significant spiritual transformative experience is the experience of a contactee. The person who has reported they have experiences of a level of contact with beings other than humans. In genuine experiences of this kind, the person may suppress their experience, have a reluctance, and knowing it is not wise to speak of all aspects of their experience or experiences, as well as significant changes in their perception of how the world works or of the appearance of energy and how it functions. Contactee experiences, like an NDE, most often change the person profoundly, impacting all their relationships, including to themselves, family, friends, employment, career, and goals. There's a heightening of innate intuitive abilities, inner knowing, often healing abilities emerge, enhancing the individual's deep understanding of the unseen. And people who have contactee experiences also have these mostly during dream state and sometimes at other times in waking ordinary consciousness. The third kind of extreme spiritual awakening experiences is through the activation of Kundalini awakening, similar to Shaktipat. The person has a distinct experience separate from ordinary reality, or said differently, a deeper experience than ordinary reality, where they see, sense, feel, have awareness of many systems and sensory experiences that are an elevation or heightening of consciousness and extraordinary feelings beyond the everyday ordinary experiences. In the Kundalini experience, the person either surrenders or does practices with the intention to achieve liberation or attain bliss. Like the NDE and contactee experience, spiritual awakening experiences, there is a significant shift that engages energy and perception, which is a sudden leap forward of consciousness, also described as activating a power or force. This sudden leap forward can be so discombobulating, the person is somewhat or nearly completely derailed from functioning as they may have previously. Unlike the contactee experience or near-death experience, the person who has had a Kundalini awakening most often is engaging in methods or practices known to attain or access the significant leap forward of consciousness. However, there are exceptions. Sometimes there is a seemingly unplanned meeting with a person who is a master or hidden master who activates the receiver with Kundalini, also known as Shaktipat, where there is no previous relationship, at least in this lifetime. In this scenario, the response may be an extreme or moderate spiritual awakening experience. And one other extreme spiritual awakening experience is through the use of psychedelics, whether self-administered or in a therapeutic setting. In these instances, the person can have a profound shift in their understanding of reality that is equally as significant as the NDE, contactee experience, or Kundalini awakening, and they may even experience an NDE, contactee experience, or Kundalini awakening during their psychedelic-assisted foray. The experience can be a one-time peak experience that leads to significant changes in their perception of reality. In all of these situations, the ability to integrate and glean content gives value. Otherwise, the profound nature of the NDE, the contactee, the Kundalini awakening, or the psychedelic-assisted experience slips away, and the person can be left to their own devices, returning to the previous world that they were experiencing, the world that led them to seek an intervention without the tools or methods to continue their journey in new ways to sustain their experience. Here are the systems affected in extreme spiritual awakening experiences. In the 3 extreme spiritual awakening experiences, actually 4, the person is impacted in their electromagnetic system, their neurological system, their emotional system, and their energy system, which includes their chakras and auric field, and often excel in understanding areas that may have been previously of little interest, like math, music, quantum physics, healing, science, or the arts. Changes in the electromagnetic and neurological system can impact the person's relationship with technology and electricity, making being around these devices more challenging, especially if they're not grounded. And to backtrack a little, the electromagnetic system is strongest in our heart, and our heart has a strong impulse that is an electromagnetic impulse and is generated to our whole field. And this impulse also is interlaid with our neurological system. So this means the person encounters affecting electric and technology devices by causing them to malfunction, fail, or blow up. And a re-equilibration over time allows the person's electromagnetic field to adjust, and the issues with electric and technology devices goes away. There may be an expansion or radiance, and their motivation related to this expansion, which is related to their electromagnetic and neurological system. So there's a huge change in those systems. The person has changed, people around them may also notice this change, and they may notice it quite a bit. In the emotional system, the person is more empathic, more aware of others' emotional states, which makes them empathic. The person may also see, and that's in quotation marks, which means see or know, or perceive what others cannot, which includes, but it's not limited to, being more in tune with animals, sensing the energy of spaces, and what, if it's heavy or confusing or feels warm and inviting. Sometimes people are more inclined to remote viewing. Accentuated vivid dreams and dream memory are activated. Understanding of dream walking, which is not lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming may be a component of dream walking. And they may also have now healing abilities. Other abilities may be what we mostly call channeling, where the person has the ability or becomes a conduit or transmitter for content. The person's energy system is opened with heightened compassion. Their capacity for holding more compassion is greater, and often emotional and psychological blocks are lessened. This may be a complete release or temporary. And here's a caveat about the above description. Although the person has experienced a profound change and they have these new awarenesses and even abilities, it doesn't mean they are above human foibles or have epics. There are instances when a person who has gained abilities from a severe or several severe or moderate spiritual awakening experiences has experienced significant trauma, which is not resolved. So, and that trauma may have occurred prior to their NDE, contactee, Kundalini, or psychedelic assisted therapy. And if it's not resolved as a result of the unhealed trauma, their abilities can be soiled or contaminated until they resolve it. And it can be impairing their progress unless they do resolve it. The characteristics of these extreme spiritual awakening experiences are they're rapidly occurring, sometimes a one-time event, impact all the human systems, like the cardiovascular system, the neurological system, the lymph system, the digestive system, all the systems, and they take a longer time of recovery. It's not a recovery from, but an integration of the experience into ordinary life and the limitations and restrictions of the cultural views of what is acceptable. So basically, a person who had an experience 100 years ago is going to encounter different cultural values to integrate their near-death experience than they would today, and also depends on the environment in which they are living. Awareness of the details of the experiences are most often revealed in pieces or layers over time. Integration may or may not be successful depending on the resources available to the person and the people who are around them. In some situations, when there is little support and or too great a leap from their ordinary life compared to the exposure of awareness they've received from their experience, there can be isolation. Even if they're involved with other people, there's still a sense of isolation and sometimes even substance abuse to manage it, or an addiction as a coping mechanism. In other situations, the person may misuse their abilities or misrepresent them. So that's the worst case scenario. And in many situations, people are able to integrate their experiences easily, depending on their cultural environment, which varies depending on where they are on the planet. Here is the description of moderate spiritual awakening experiences. Moderate spiritual awakening experiences can be ongoing throughout life and beyond. There's not a one-time spiritual awakening experience for anyone, whether it is in any of the degrees on the spectrum. These experiences continue throughout our life. It is a process of layers. And beyond this life, these experiences occur without a great shift in perspective, seemingly, or impact to the electromagnetic system, neurological system, emotional system, energy system, including the chakras and auric field. Moderate spiritual awakening experiences, whether seemingly spontaneous or intentional, may include out-of-body experiences, some dreams, Shaktipa, some contactee experiences, mystical experiences, remote viewing, psychic or intuitive experiences, and Shaktipa and Kundalini awakening experiences similar, and even seeing ghosts or other beings. So that's all the different ways that a person can experience a moderate spiritual awakening experience. How do the above spiritual awakening experiences occur? Moderate experiences may be experienced since childhood in any generation. These are meaning that not just this current generation, but other generations have people throughout time who have moderate spiritual awakening experiences since they were a child. These are continuous revelations, experiences, stimulations, awarenesses that can be from any one of the list above or many of the list above, or a person may have experiences with all of the different categories of moderate spiritual awakening experiences over their life, meaning that they may experience seeing other beings, they may have mystical experiences, they may have significant dreams, they may have visitations. An individual can have all of those occurring over their lifetime as moderate and even mild spiritual awakening experiences. When there are moderate spiritual awakening experiences, there is an incremental shift in consciousness depending on the willingness of the person, their surroundings, and the limitations and restrictions of their cultural influences. These experiences can be considered a series of exposures to allow consciousness to integrate while, quote, normal, unquote, life continues. In the moderate spiritual awakening experience, there are smaller incremental changes in the electromagnetic system, neurological system, emotional system, energy system, including the chakras and auric field. These changes occur more slowly, are not sudden or dramatic, however, sometimes more noticeable and sometimes imperceptible. The person who has moderate spiritual awakening experiences may have spikes of changes that ebb and flow and can impact the electromagnetic field and neurological system, impacting their environment with technology and electricity as described in the more severe acute spiritual awakening experiences. They may also elect to block their experiences and deny their presence, even with meditation, substances, or in other ways. For some people, the moderate spiritual awakening experience is perceived as a marker of significant change, when really it is just the beginning of a series of experiences that seems to have no timeline. For some people, these experiences occur, as I said before, from very early childhood and continue, while other people notice a beginning in adolescence. Others notice when they are older, in their late 20s, or after a traumatic experience, or they associate the beginning of their moderate spiritual awakening experiences with a special date, like the year 2000 or 2012 or 2020. The moderate spiritual transformative experience is manageable, but like the extreme spiritual awakening experience, requires tools and methods to glean the most from the experience or experiences for acceleration of consciousness while staying grounded and integrating for optimate gain. The mild spiritual awakening experience characteristics include out-of-body experiences, some dreams, some contactee experiences, mystical experiences, remote viewing, psychic or intuitive experiences, some Kundalini awakening experiences, seeing ghosts or beings. And if you notice, that's the same list for moderate, because these experiences occur in different levels. And for some people, the same level is easier to manage, or they're more accustomed to it. So it could be considered mild, when for someone else, it might be considered more moderate. In the above list of moderate spiritual awakening or mild spiritual awakening experiences, the person isn't aware of any significant change. Mild experiences may occur throughout a person's life and seem to be barely noticeable. Sometimes people who experience severe and moderate spiritual awakening experiences continuously have mild experiences and consider them normal or even nothing to notice, and so they're not even categorized as unusual. And the following is an example of a dog who got up while two people were looking at herbal tarot cards and put her nose on several cards and sat down. This is a highly unusual occurrence, but then overlooked because the people were used to having many things happen as categorized in the mild and moderate experiences. It's also common for people to communicate with someone who's passed during the dream state. And when this happens, the person feels the dream to be more real than ordinary life, with sometimes audio, sensory, olfactory, or knowing simultaneously occurring. Sometimes the experience is telepathic, or there is an exchange of knowing what the intention and meaning of the visitation's meaning is, that is not even telepathic, but beyond, there's just a knowing. Most people experience one or more of the above in the list, in the mild list of spiritual transformative experiences group, but are not motivated to remember other experiences or to delve more deeply into the experience they've had. Post-traumatic stress, cultural biases, religious restrictions, lack of support, or being overwhelmed or swamped with responsibilities all can be deterrents. Children often have spiritual transformative experiences, but may not have the language to share until they're much older. So then they're sharing when they remember. Due to acculturation, children often are trained out of their natural and innate connection to their ability to see and perceive beyond the veil. This occurs through other children and adults who ignore, shame, or deny any sharing about these experiences. Additionally, often children sense the adults don't have the tools to deal with or understand these types of sharing, and so they shut these awarenesses down. They just don't remember, or they remember smaller amounts, and sometimes they eventually forget. When the person is older, memory seems anomalous, or incidents are completely forgotten, or small fragments are forgotten, or they consider them like a nighttime dream and not important. Alternatively, there are those people who choose to die with the secrets of severe, moderate, and mild spiritual transformative experiences because they deem them so disparate from their life experience. They want to hide them. They don't feel there's anyone to share them with. And sometimes there are deathbed revelations that contribute to the greater changes occurring in this paradigm, leading to our evolution. The spiritual transformative experience spectrum, 3 primary levels, mild, moderate, and extreme, are specific categories. However, there are variables within the spectrum. While each of the levels has a distinct description and component, some people will experience variations in all the levels throughout their lives, and this is their norm. This means many experiences to someone would seem extraordinary, while their experiences seem just a day in the life, like the example of the dog. Also, while some people will have a jolting extreme experience that is life-changing, others will never have this type of experience, but they will live their entire life from the same after experience perspective of the extreme spiritual awakening experience. So what that means is you don't have to have a near-death experience, a contactee experience, a psychedelic assisted therapy, a system, or a Kundalini awakening experience as a peak experience. Other people can have smaller, moderate experiences throughout their lives, and it can be equally as impactful or more. There's no best way to have a spiritual transformative experience, and each person is unique in their path. And although we are all on the journey, there's no spiritual transformative experience that is the last one. So we just covered the spiritual awakening spectrum scale, part 1, where we learned about mild, moderate, and severe spiritual awakening experiences, descriptions, and their definitions, and also about the different systems in the body that are affected and how they're impacted. In the spiritual awakening spectrum, part 2, you'll learn what hinders spiritual awakening experiences integration that enables the person to progress. Number 2, you'll hear how to integrate spiritual transformative experiences and methods to gather valuable content and make the most of them. And 3, how to progress and even accelerate the effects of spiritual transformative experiences. And 4, why a person might want to slow their spiritual transformative experience down. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell to stay tuned for the latest content.